Welcome to another edition of His School World. Here we discuss about football and other related issues. Indeed, we have two topics to talk about in this video. We'll be discussing about Manchester United latest signing and that of Chelsea latest signing. Before we move forward, I want you to like the video, share, and subscribe so that you can be informed whenever we post a new video. Now, first, let's talk about that of Manchester United. They just signed a new striker in the person of Rasmus Hojlund. Now, he's a 20 years old lad from Atlanta, 72 million pounds. Now, my fans, I want you to actually drop your comment. Do you actually put your trust in this lad, that this lad can actually lead you in the course of the season? Because now we've been able to see that the tendency to even qualify for the Champions League spot is even difficult in the Premier League, let alone to win it. Because last season we'll be able to see that, yes, a new set of teams break into that rank, and the people of Newcastle United, and I think that they will still want to maintain that status with respect to the kind of signings they are doing, and some of the teams that missed out, like Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspurs, they will try to see how they can be able to break in. Now, with this latest addition from Manchester United, a 20 years old lad that they paid 72 million pounds from Atlanta, indeed, his start last season shows that out of 34 games he played, he only ended up scoring 10 goals. Now, that start look a bit average to me, and considering his age, 20 years old, putting that kind of fund for him. Man U fans, I want you to actually drop a comment. Do you really think that this guy has the catalyst to be able to ignite Manchester United striking position and actually give them a good numbers of goals, so that it can help Man U to be able to go far in the Champions League they are, and also retain their position in the Premier League table log? I want you to actually drop your comments, because 72 million pounds paying for a young lad of 20 years, knowing fully well that he has not been able to really do much in his career. So I really think that that is a bit much. Did Man U actually pay over the margin for what they are supposed to pay for him? Are they actually being pushed into paying this fortune because of Paris Saint-Germain that actually show interest in it? So, my fans, I want you to actually tell me if you believe that this particular striker in the person of Rasmus Hojlund can be able to give you probably 20 goals in the course of this season. His name sounds like that of a Manchester City striker, Hojlund. We have Hojlund in the City sector, and we have Hojlund in the Manchester United sector. Now, let's see when the season fully kicked off to see if actually this guy can live up to that price tag. Because one thing that is very critical in Premier League is that the amount that the transfer price that they pay on a particular striker usually have pressure on that striker. Now, let's see if actually this lad can be able to withstand the pressure and deliver, because Premier League journalists, they are really very tricky in respect to their judgment, especially if the player is not an English player. They tend to put a lot of pressure, and I think that price will actually weigh on him, and that may actually affect the way he is going to deliver in the course of this season. Well, that is just a presumption. By the time the season fully kickstarts, we'll be able to know and judge fairly from what he can be able to do. So now let's move to the next topic, and that is Chelsea. They just did a signing of Lesley Ugochukwu out of nowhere. It is actually one player that I don't think that Chelsea are going for, but according to Fabrizio Romero, he said in the course of January that Chelsea sent their scouts to Rennes. Is actually the same team that Chelsea was able to get Peter Cech from. They also were able to get Mendy from. So let's see if actually this Ugochukwu, well, is a Nigerian, but played for the France on the 21 team. I just hope that by the time he moves towards the national level, if he can actually show ties with that of Nigeria, well, that's not what we're going to talk about. Well, one thing I want to know is that this is actually the profile of player Chelsea has been looking for, which is a defensive midfielder. Now, initially, I was thinking that with the acquisition of this Ugochukwu, doesn't mean that Chelsea they are ending or they are cutting their ties with that of Moise Caicedo. But according to Fabrizio, he said this signing has no relationship with that of Moise Caicedo. I remember in the course of the season, Chelsea seems to be going for two defensive midfielder in the persons of Lavia and Caicedo. So does it mean that since they feel that they cannot be able to get Lavia, now let them get this Ugochukwu? Him and Lavia, they are both of the same age, the same profile. He's just a little bit bigger than Lavia, but I think Lavia is a little bit more technical than him. Well, let's see, because some of all these signings that Chelsea are doing, they seems to actually be overperforming with respect to the ones that we've seen in the course of this preseason. Doesn't mean that this lad is actually going to follow suit with other people, because some of the signings that Chelsea have made from Rennes, they've actually been very good, and the price tag is not that much, but £23 million, and there seems to be some confusion with regards to this particular signing, because they are saying that there's a tendency of him going for loan, but they have to leave it for the coach Pochettino to analyze that. If after analyzing it in the course of this preseason, he can't play any preseason, you just only have one more preseason left to go outside the one that they're going to play today, which I know definitely he won't be available for today's game, except that of the Dortmund. That's the only place that maybe Pochettino can be able to test him and see what he can be able to do if he fits the profile. As they said, if after his analysis he feels that he's not up to the standard with which he wants, then there's likely tendency that he may go to Strasbourg. It's a sister company that Chelsea bought, but doesn't mean that these various signing that is coming up, because with the acquisition of this Ugochukwu, what is going to be the fate of Santos? Because Santos are to do a lot of good deeds in the course of this preseason. We can't just ignore what they've done in the preseason. But well, that's actually for the coach to decide, because he's going to be the one to pick the team. He said in the last interview that it's had time to shrink the team, because he went to United States with 30 players, which is a big number for him, because he said he needs a squad of within the range of 24-25. So let's see how he's going to go about it, and let's see also if actually Brighton is going to back out or be a little bit flexible, because that of Hojlund deal with Atlanta is actually a sign. They were wanting 95 million euros, but at the end of the day, Man U were able to secure him for 85 million euros. Doesn't mean that Chelsea, they are still going to do similar thing with respect to Moise Caicedo. Well, we'll see as actually the season goes further in the next couple of days or weeks. We can be able to get more clarity from that of Brighton and that of Chelsea with respect to these two signings. So Chelsea fans and Man U fans, I want you to drop your comment. Do you think that these signings, they are blockbuster signings for you, even though they are not the big names that indeed we used to see? Because one thing I noticed in the course of this transfer window is that most teams, they are no longer going for the so-called big names. Indeed, they are going for a particular kind of profile of players that they feel can be able to suit their team and suit the project and fit in a particular role which the coach wants. We will see as the season kick off, because this season is actually going to be a blockbuster one. Every team is optimistic to see their team do well. So let's see how it goes. Drop your comments, for it's very key. Come on, let's go.